what we're doing. What we're really doing is filming a 60-second firework display. But instead of fireworks being explosives with light, we're doing it with paint and liquid.
We wanted to move away a little bit from the balls out, so we ended up in this place which was like fireworks, paint explosions, landmines of color.
It's a unique idea, it's an iconic idea, and it's never been done before. There's no doubt that it has scale.
When you turn up on a shoot and there's 200 people that are going to appear on your shoot, you know, you get some idea of the scale of this.
There's no doubt whatsoever that Jonathan Glazer was absolutely the right choice for director.
He knew what to keep from balls and what not to keep from balls. And he made a similar celebration expression, which is much more punk with more attitude. San Francisco needed the balls, Glasgow needed the paint, I think.
This whole project is about performance, and I think there's an attitude that has to be very liberated and quite free. What we're looking at is quite visceral, but the music is quite balletic, and I think that has a very nice and original effect.
I think Glasgow is a fantastic place, but the weather is a little bit of a challenge up there.
After 2 weeks of absolutely beautiful, sunny, still weather, we're back to Glasgow weather.
When you've got an entirely cloudy sky and you know you've got one of the biggest shots and 2 days to reset it if it's gone completely wrong, it takes quite an extraordinary director of photography to call action when there's probably a hole, you know, this big in the sky.
And cut!
The days approaching this shoot, I was quite nervous, and I guess who wouldn't be? We were about to blow up a building in Glasgow.
The fact that you were on the set and you're all the time like thinking, oh, if I touch that cable, something's going to go off, and the whole building is going to collapse in paint.
It's like a 2-week penalty shootout.
Okay, is everyone 100% ready? Dan, are you ready? Kirsty, are you ready? Connor, are you ready? You got the trigger, right? Yeah. Okay, roll tape.
There was no room for failure at all. There was one take for everything. It was kind of high nerves, but very exciting.
Okay, guys. 3.
Whoa.
Not ready.
No. When I said action, Alex, don't
Okay.
scare me.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
We've had a team of 6 of us working on it since mid-April now, and this week they're starting to be signed off, which is 4 months and a couple of weeks later, and we've been working solidly on it every day, because although the technology is advanced, you're still pushing it to the limits.
The clown, I guess, is the other interesting element to this, because it's not paint blowing up, it's sort of a human moment. The feeling at the end of the day was that if he could set up the big moment when the reverse demolition occurs and the whole building goes up in the rainbow colours, it felt like it gave that moment even more weight and power.
We're going through the full colour spectrum all the way to the top of the building. We're using direct sunlight, back 3/4, and there should be a very vibrant colour spectrum available.
It's like a hit of color like you've never felt.
Stand by.
Initiate firing sequence.
Tape's rolling. You're hot.
On 3, 2, 1.
Citroën C4 Picasso 7 places, le Visiospace. Vous n'imaginez pas tout ce que Citroën peut faire pour vous.
I am faster than you. I am stronger than you. Certainly, I will last much longer than you. You may think I am the future, but you're wrong. You are. If I had a wish, I'd wish to be human. To know how it feels. To feel. To hope. To despair. To wonder. To love. I can achieve immortality by not wearing out. You can achieve immortality simply by doing one great thing.
I think it's magic. I think it was a combination of the right thing in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we were asked by Dove to do activation ideas. Evolution was one of a series of films that we pitched to them. We knew that Evolution was a real winner, so we persuaded the client that whatever the new film was going to be, we would make Evolution within that budget, and then started to beg, borrow and steal from all our suppliers who graciously were very interested in it, so we were able to make it.
We set the shoot up like it would be an actual fashion shoot. So the lighting we used was similar to something I would do for a magazine or some sort of beauty campaign. And a lot of the beauty campaigns that we work with, they're like no shadows on the face because that works really well for retouching. The reason we ended up going with Stephanie is even though she's a lovely young lady, we could sort of show or present to the viewer sort of the extreme changes that can and do happen in the beauty industry. So we were looking for someone who was maybe more representative of the norm and someone that we could sort of maybe exaggerate a little bit of what we do with the retouching.
The main challenge for the offline part of the Dove spot was essentially taking 2.5 hours of footage and very speeding into roughly, I think it ended up about 20 to 23 seconds of the spot. The pacing of the spot was key as far as how long we could capture the viewer's imagination. For the beginning of the video, we really wanted to keep a human element involved with the model. We wanted to show some of the insecurities that go along with being on set, being surrounded by hair and makeup and wardrobe people and constantly being poked and prodded. It's a compelling story. It's something that we see every day in advertising, every day in all aspects of life.
We looked at some tracks, and one of the tracks we had was by the Flashbulb, and he's got a really interesting mix of working with piano and classical sort of instrumentation and putting drill and bass, drum and bass sort of stuff on top of that. Nobody's really used to listening to drill and bass, period, because it's a very small subgenre that's almost hard to listen to. But given that balance with the piano, it sort of says something, and it brings two elements that are very different together.
We worked on this spot on and off for about 3 weeks, 15 hours or so of editing the tracks and remixing the track different ways to see how it worked. Some a lot more aggressive than others in terms of the mix. And the sound design was about 4 or 5 hours altogether. There's a lot more than just the people in the background. We have everything from a gunshot to start it off, to horses underneath, very light, to the entire process of the shoot. I think it was about 4 hours of audio recording was cut down to like 30 seconds, time compressed.
We were supplied with, I think it was 118 digital stills by the digital retoucher. From those 118 stills, we selected about 55 that looked like it told the story. Pieced those together, and with our Photoshop geniuses in the back, we created the menus and the tools and made them move and tried to make it look real. The neck and the eye manipulation, that was where we spent most of our time. The hand dragging the marquee to select it. The stretching of the neck, key parts like that, makes people stand up and notice what's going on.
Also in post, I wanted to get Soho to see how well they could stabilize the face. Fortunately, the guys in post were able to stabilize her, although when they did, all the background started moving because her face was still, so the guys had to cut her head out.
Eventually, we went through with Tim, the art director, and frame by frame went through and picked the frames we liked, things we didn't, and then using the software, stabilize the image. Take a little bit of any camera wobble out or head movements as much as possible to allow you to focus on what we wanted you to see. It's a really great campaign. It's a great thing they're doing, and it'll really help as far as consumer awareness. What's on TV, don't take that for what is real. It's showing the truth in advertising, and I think it's a great idea.
This innocent maiden called Callista, who the village men saw as a sister, one beautiful morning went out for a stroll, in search of dates to gather in her bowl. Among black roses, a strange fruit she found, and with fire her body was bound. For it wasn't a date, but a black soap instead. And in a small lake that morning, the old Callista was dead.
Now the cute forest creatures have nasty thoughts in their heads. They all want Callista to get in their beds.
The men in town still view her as a sister, as someone else's sister. She no longer collects dates she finds on the ground, but now collects dates with men of the town. Alas, this village has lost its innocence, for this is no fairy tale, but rather it's full of dirty details.
History, passion, temptation, and lust.
All because of a little black soap.
One of the things that made this project really exciting for me, the story was like a fractured fairy tale, and it's something that I personally have always enjoyed. What's different, really different about this character is the fact that it's a hybrid. We found a way to incorporate a technique that we hadn't seen before, and that was taking a live action person and taking their face and manipulating it and putting it onto an animated character. Ray gets the credit for that, but that was a really exciting approach to this.
It wasn't the technique that I was after, it was trying to figure out how to get a little bit more personal emotion out of a puppet or stop motion. And I'm thinking, boy, this would be a neat thing to work on. And all of a sudden, we get these boards from this company out of Argentina called Santo, and we read them, and they were much more racy than you can do in the US market, and it was really well written. To their credit, Santo was all over it. They're like, wow, I've never seen this. This could be really amazing. And they allowed us to take them down this path.
The challenges we faced with production design started with the character, because we knew we were going to be doing something pretty different than we'd done before, and the technical challenges were quite an uphill battle. The biggest thing was trying to manipulate realistic human faces into a puppet. There's just a tremendous amount of subtleties that we had to play with.
This is something special. It's something out of the ordinary. And any time you want to do something like this that hasn't been done before, you have to take a chance.
Lux was a very complex technical achievement because we had live action footage mixed in with stop motion animation, mixing in with a lot of different backgrounds in CG. It wasn't unusual that we would have a dozen passes in one shot.
So our process was to shoot the live action woman first and then animate to that. I think it was a unique challenge for the animators because they're used to animating a character in its entirety, and to be animating to a character whose most significant part of their character is their face and their emotion is coming from that. To have that already in place was its own challenge. It was a very interesting experiment ultimately, and I think it worked.